Hey, how you doing? Good. I think we're going to be a small group. We just have 11. We're smaller this year than we were last year. Last year we had like 30, 20, between 25 and 30 new to profession teachers. And this year we have just, I think there's 9 partnerships, and then we have 11. We have 11 that are moving into the second year. So offering an earlier and then a later Zoom session just makes for smaller groups, and that's fine too. So we'll get going here in another minute. I think Holly's with us as well. Hey, Holly. And this is being recorded. So we all have lots of moving pieces in our lives, and sometimes it just doesn't, the scheduling doesn't work out for you to attend. So these are always recorded. Okay, so let me go ahead and put the sign-in link, the sign-in into the chat box. I don't have Kathy to wingman for me anymore, so I have to do my own, drop in my own links. Okay, there's the sign-in. And it is 3:45, so let's go ahead and get started. I'll drop the sign in one more time, just like you've always done. Click into that link, sign in for your attendance, and it is the KPBSD mentor training for mentors that are working with teachers in their second year in the profession. Almost all of you have been working with your mentee for an entire school year, and I know you probably realized that you wear many hats as a mentor, many hats. You get to partner with a new to profession teacher. You get to share ideas. I'm sure there's lots of opportunities where they need to be encouraged. You got to share in their successes. And then you were also, you got to help them network out to other teachers within the district as well. And you got to see their growth all through the year. So as a mentor, you wear many hats. And I hope you had that opportunity to do that. This year, it's going to look different than it did last year. Last year, mentoring was very structured, and I gave topics. There was the 4 squares, and you filled out your 4 squares, and there was an expectation that you talked about the suggested topics. This year, it's going to be way more individualized to your mentee. In that there will be quarterly coaching cycles, which encompass a pre-conference, a classroom visit, and a post-conference. And that's what we're going to be talking about this whole Mentor Zoom. It would be good if you could complete the pre and post-conference forms, and we'll get to your Google folders where they're already loaded for you. And then the hope is that you would participate in all the mentor Zooms. There'll be 4 of them. They're quarterly, and there are the dates for you. So just to kind of connect back to the mentor training, some of you came just recently, some of you came a year and a half ago. There were communication skills that we specifically talked about, and there are newly created mentor standards that I just thought it would be good to have a look at those. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop the mentor standard link into the chat box. Those mentor standards include Standard 1 communication. And we've talked a lot about communication skills, and I'm sure as at your work with your mentee, you've had an opportunity to really hone in some of your mentor language and some phrasings that fit into your personality style. And I'm sure you have lots of opportunities to practice that feedback triangle. As a mentor, you get to inspire. Standard 2, and you get to help them develop their pedagogy. You get to help them develop their practice. Standard 4 is delivery of services. This year, again, it's going to look different. Last year, you met with your mentee once a week, 3 times a month. This time, it's just quarterly. And you're going to be doing a coaching cycle quarterly where you're moving from everybody's doing the same thing with their mentee to something that's more individualized to where they are in their practice. And then, so within this year, you're probably going to be doing more of standard 5, analyze and assess. So we'll really talk a lot about what that pre-conference and the classroom visit and the post-conference, what's that going to look like? Now, I am pretty excited about the Google site that I've been created. It's a work in progress, but I've been building it. If you came to the training in May, you had a chance to look at that. If you haven't, I put the link to the Google site in the chat box. There is a specific tab for mentors. And within that tab, there's the 3 different approaches. So there's 3 pathways to mentoring. Last year, it was just only first-year mentors. That's all we had. And so Kathy and I built that plane as we flew it, and all of you guys got to be passengers on that plane. This year, we've branched off into 3 different pathways. So there's still the first-year mentors. And so we have a new group of new to profession teachers. Y'all, everybody in this Zoom session, you're moving into that second-year mentorship. And so again, I'm building the plane as we fly it, so you get to be my passengers. And then Kathy has branched off on her own because we realized that SPED teachers really need more specialized information that pertains to their specific role. So SPED teachers have SPED mentors specifically, and Kathy is directing her pathway on her own. Now below the first year, second year, and special ed images, there you can click into the drop down, and then all the resources are going to be loaded down there. So last year there was always, where's the slide deck, where's the Google file? Everything is going to be here on this website for you. So you're not going to be worried about the first year calendar and resources. You're absolutely welcome to have a look in what those resources look like, but all of the resources for the second years are going to be here underneath this tab. I'll put the slide deck, I'll put the Zoom, all of it will be there for you, as well as at the bottom are the resources that were part of the training. If you want to brush up on questioning stems, if you're interested in looking at that listening and questioning checklist, as the mentoring language is here, as well as the mentor standards. So the website is just a big host of resources for you to peruse. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, the coaching cycle. That's what this Zoom is all about. What does a coaching cycle look like? And it really is sectioned off into 3 parts. The first part is the pre-conference, where you sit down with your mentee and you kind of set a focus. You kind of, it's like you're planning for that visit during the pre-conference. During classroom visit, you get to implement whatever you talked about in the pre-conference, and the post-conference is just that reflection piece where you have a look at the data and you give a platform for your mentee to reflect on their own practice and then talk about next steps. Okay, so let's dig down deeper into this pre-conference. During your pre-conference, you'll want to, of course, reconnect with your mentee. They have a new group of kids, so they might have new questions. They might want to, absolutely, you want to reconnect with your mentee, find out how it's going with their new group of students, and answer any questions that they might have. Also important during the meeting is you want to set a focus for the visit. You want to establish a date and a time when you're going to come in for the classroom visit. It's a 1 hour lesson, 1 hour at tops. And you might want to ask, is there anything the mentor, you as the mentor, needs to know before visiting the classroom? Now, when you set that focus for a visit, you'll ask them, what do you want me to look at when I'm there? What specifically? So some teachers will, they'll know exactly what they want you to look at. I want you to look at this student and I want you to take some data on this student. Or they might say, oh, I want you to look at my transitions, or I want you to look specifically at engagement, or which students are attending to the lesson, those kind of things. Some classroom teachers are going to want it. They know exactly what you want to look at. Some of them will be like, I don't know. So I have a strategy for that teacher that doesn't know what you want them to come and look at. But what you'll want to do is you want to set a focus for the visit and then talk about what data you're going to collect. And so again, I have a strategy for that, and I have lots of resources for you. But specifically at the pre-conference, you want to set a focus for the visit, talk about what data you're going to collect. You can use the forms that I've created, or you can do it informally. It's really up to you. Since we're moving from that systematic mentoring where everybody's kind of getting the same, you're going to you're going to zero in, drill down to what specifically would be supportive to your mentee. It's always good to establish a date and time for the post-conference too, because we all have lots of moving parts in our lives. And so getting it calendared when you're going to talk about the data is always good. So at the pre-conference, reconnect, set a focus, talk about data collection, and then when are we going to meet again for the post-conference?
So Michelle, can I ask
yes.
a question? Like as far as scheduling this during the day, I won't have anybody coming in to cover my class. So I'm doing this like during my prep or during my lunch. Those are really the only times I'll have.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why there's a payment associated with your time.
Right.
Is that it's not designed to be after your school hours, but it's in addition to your normal responsibility. So that's why there's definitely a payment associated. Now, if you guys can fit it in sometime during your school day, that's great. If it can happen just immediately after school ends or during your lunch break, that's great. Whatever works for you and your mentee. Really, that's
well, I'm just talking about going in and observing her. I have to do that during my school day.
Correct.
So I either have to find somebody to watch my classroom or do it during my prep, right?
Yes, and the department does provide 2 days to do that. We do provide. No, we don't provide the subs, and we'll talk about that. What that looks like, steps. But we absolutely provide sub coverage for you, where we're gonna pay for the subs.
Okay, I guess that's my question, because I'm a second-year mentor, but I did not mentor her last year. So
exactly, everyone else has already been. Correct.
Right. Okay, I'm first year.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're going to be great, Donna. Don't worry. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so like I said, I had a strategy for that teacher that is like, I don't know what I want you to look at. I created a data collection menu. Now let me drop this into the chat for you so that you can have a look at it. This form, this data collection menu is absolutely for both yourself and your mentee. I would print this off and maybe even take it in with you during your pre-conference. If it's that teacher that says, I don't know, you can show them this menu or do any of these things speak to you. Are any of the things on this data collection menu something that you would want me to put a focus on? So with each one of these areas, I've been doing this a while, I've been coaching for a while, and these are all these particular things that are on this data collection menu are some of the things that are big ticket items for me as a coach. And so I've had the opportunity to create forms for them, or there's already forms out there that are already created. So for each one of these areas, there's a corresponding form. So there's a lot of information on this data collection menu. So I'm going to go ahead and give you like about 5 minutes to just peruse it. Just have a look, take a look at it, click into all the links, make sure they all work, because I put this together. Like I said, I'm creating the plane as I fly it. So let me know if any of these links don't work. Just let's take 5 minutes and we'll reconvene together maybe at 4:05, and I'll field questions, but just have a look at the data collection menu.
Hey, Michelle. I got kicked off of our internet. And I'm just back on now. Are we supposed to be reviewing this document?
We're just reviewing the data collection menu.
Oh God, could you drop it in the chat again?
Of course.
That's blank. Thank you.
Good thing it happened to you and not me, because that's happened to me when I'm like doing the mentor Zoom. I don't know if you were part of that particular one, but yeah, it's always problematic when you lose your internet. There it is.
Michelle, I had a question about, because I was looking at the questioning chart and I thought that we had something before that we were like questioning strategies, types of questions, something before that we did our first year.
We did
Wasn't there
have
something?
we had some question stems for the mentor,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Question
I
stems
was
for the
just like,
mentor.
yeah, there was, but I was just thinking because as, you know, like higher level thinking, questioning and stuff like that, they might not know what that is.
Mhm.
So I'm like thinking, oh yeah, he's asking, you know, base level questions, but in order
Right.
to take his students to the next level.
Shanna
So I was like, I
Johnson.
thought there was something like that.
Yes, there was. There was one, and I couldn't find it. Shanna Johnson used to use one where she had, there was a spot to write, to scribe the question, and then as the mentor, you would X off which Bloom's taxonomy it fell into. Is that the
Yeah,
one
I
you're
was like,
thinking
my
of?
brain was just starting, just starting to go in that direction. I was like, I've seen this before, but
Yep.
where, because
I
that,
couldn't find that one. And if that's something you're interested in, I'll recreate it. Is that something
okay,
that you think you might want
yeah,
to
because
use?
I'm thinking of my, like, that's where I need to go with him, is he
Okay.
needs to understand what,
Yep.
what, you know,
And
and
you
there's
know,
this part of
it's
time where I feel like that will just, he'll learn to use that better. That end of the like, if we could
right.
just, so
I'll create that for
that's
you
where I'm
because
going.
I couldn't find it. And so it
Okay.
was a good one, right? It was a really good
Yeah,
one.
that's what I'm like. I know that that's somewhere, and I was like thinking that it might be attached, and I was missing something. So I was like, oh,
It
so
was Shanna
that would be
Johnson's. Yes.
okay.
And you
That's
know,
where I saw it, but it's been a while, so
as the
that was
mentor,
great.
I wouldn't mark off. I would let the mentee mark off
Yeah,
which which Bloom's taxonomy it applies to, because you want them to
right,
do that thinking work. You want
right,
them to look at their questioning and do the think work of
right,
which one it falls into, because then as as the mentor, you can start talking about how to take that specific question up to the next level.
right. Well, and that's what I'm thinking is he's not going to understand. He's going to go, well, I'm asking these
Right.
questions, and you know, and he's not going to know how to. So
Mhm.
that's, yeah. If you could,
Yeah,
not to give you more
I'm
work, but
visualizing
that
it
was,
in my
yeah.
head. I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm visualizing in my
Okay.
head. I just didn't have time to create it at this moment
Oh
in time because I was trying to get so many things together. But
no,
absolutely, a lot
I
of teachers can
appreciate you.
benefit. Mhm,
I
sure.
appreciate you. So thank you.
Any other questions about the data collection menu? Now, like I was just talking to Holly about, yeah, I'm happy to create that one form. This is kind of what I put together as big ticket items as a coach myself, but I'm happy to create forms. I'm happy to problem solve and talk about how to collect that data, because the more options we put on this data collection menu, the better it is gonna, the stronger this mentoring program is going to be. So so know that that this data collection menu is a work in progress as well. And I'll continue to add additional forms and area topics to it as well. Okay, so now if you don't have any other questions about the data collection menu, I think now is a good time to go to that email that I sent you. I just sent you an email, and at the top of that email is the data forms. So if you click into that data forms, what you're going to get to is you're going to get to a folder that kind of looks like this. You're just going to have the form. So when you click into that and you see the data forms folder, when you click into the folder, all the forms are there for you as well as the data collection menu. So I want to make sure that you have all these forms at the ready for yourselves. So when you get there, I want you to click into the 3 dots and click into organize and add it to start. When you add that folder to start, then it'll be cataloged here right next to your start. So anytime you click into start, it's just going to come right up. You have your data forms, and we'll get your Google Forms started as well a little later on. But right now, let's get your data forms and add that to start. And please feel free to unmute your microphone and let me know if you need any help or if it's not working for you. The data collection menu is designed to be a resource that you would show your mentee and let them pick and choose what they might want you to shine the spotlight on when you come in for your classroom visit. Does anybody need more time? Okay. All right, so let's go back to the slide deck. Now, logistics. What does it look like when you do that classroom visit? So 2A funds, Jessica Scoggin is our administrator who manages the 2A funds, and she has allotted 2 full-day subs for each of you. Now you can take those 2, you can take a full day, you can take a half day, you can take whatever you need. But there is a process to getting the sub. I do ask that you reach out to me with the date of your half or your full day sub. Just reach out and let me know, because there is a paperwork trail. And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to secure your own sub through absence management. Yes, we provide the funds, but you want to make sure that you log your absence in absence management and get somebody that you like to have in your classroom. Then there'll be a sign-in for the day of the classroom visit. You'll need to sign as well as your mentee. Don't ask me why Chrissy Mahan requires the mentee to sign, but she does. So we just do it. That's what she requires. We do it. There's always a paper trail. 2A federal funds always has a paper trail. So she wants the mentee to sign. So we just do it. So both you and your mentee will need to sign the sign-in sheet. And I know you know what those look like because you see them all the time whenever you come to a professional development. And then you return the sign-in to me. So those are the steps. There's 4 steps. You get 2 full-day subs over the course of the year. You can use them wherever, however, and wherever it makes sense to you. Now, if your mentee would like to have a planning day or your mentee would like to have a collaboration day, there's other sources for mentoring. You have an instructional day, your mentee has an instructional day, and know that every school has a pot of money. They do. If you reach out to your principal and ask for days, they do have money to provide for subs. And I don't understand why a principal would deny you an opportunity to have a mentoring day with your mentee. But just know that there's other sources for mentoring if you need that day to do a planning day or a collaboration day or a learning walk. Does this all make sense to everybody? Yes? Okay. All right, the visit. So you've had the pre-conference, you sat down with them, you've reconnected, you've set a focus, you've talked about what data you're going to collect, and you've established when you're going to do your post-conference. When you visit, what you'll want to do is you'll want to just take the data that you've already talked about. You're just going to take that data. More importantly, you want to gather all the things that you see going well in that classroom. Remember, you want to be a witness to the good. It's super, super important to point out all the things that you see are going well, because your mentee is probably is way harder on themselves than anybody else out there. So it's a perfect opportunity to be their cheerleader and acknowledge all the fabulous things that they're doing already in their classroom. Because remember that you want to be their cheerleader. And then when you meet for the post-conference, you want to, again, talk about all the things that you see going fabulously in their classroom. Be a witness to the good. Then part of that post-conference would be to have an honest conversation about the data collected. It may be an affirmation of what they thought, or it could be an eye-opener, but you want to sit down and have an honest conversation about that data, and then give your mentee lots of airtime to reflect and create some next steps for themselves based on the data. So on this first coaching cycle, you may look at engagement. Know that it's always at your mentee's discretion on what they want you to look at, what the focus is. They could choose, they might say, oh, I want to look at transitions all year long so that they can see growth over time. That may be an option. That may be something that they're really working on, and that could be a year-long thing, or they could choose a different thing every time. Just know that your mentee is in the driver's seat for these coaching cycles. And so they get to choose, and they get to choose what the data looks like. They get to choose what the focus wants to be. We're really moving apart. We're moving away from that systematic mentoring where everybody's doing the same to something that's individualized to what the mentee wants to look at. Okay, so there's forms. We no 4 squares this year. You're going to be doing the pre and the conference forms. And on the pre-conference, you're just going to be documenting what you talked about. What's the focus? What's the data going to look like? When's the mentor coming in? Maybe some information to know before the classroom visit. If they have some target kids that they want you to know some information about before you come in, or do they have specials? There's always lots of moving parts in any classroom. So be sure to find out if there's anything that you need to know about before you walk into that classroom, and then always establish the post-conference date and time. During the post-conference, again, you want to highlight what went well. Be a witness to the good, and you want to make sure that you find at least 5 things that are going well in that classroom so you can really acknowledge the good work that they're doing, and then document some of their reflections and if there are next steps, this is a great place to document them. Okay, so let's get into your Google folder and add it to favorites. So go back to that email that I sent you earlier and find your name and your mentee's initials next to it. When you click into that link, it'll take you to something that kind of looks like this. This is, I'm mentoring a couple of teachers in our smaller schools. When you see your folder, click into these 3 dots. You want to click into organize and add it to starred, so that when you click into your starred tab here, it just appears. Inside your folder should be the Q1 pre-conference, Q1 post-conference. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. Set yourselves up for success by getting these all starred and easily accessible. So much better than last year, I have to say. Does anybody need more time to get favorited? Okay, so I'm not hearing that anybody needs more time, so we're gonna move on. You've got your folders, you've got your data forms, you should be ready to rock and roll. And so now I'm gonna open it up for questions. Any questions? Does anything feel wonky? Let me know. Okay, so I'm not hearing any questions. So with that, I'll send you off to do Q1 coaching cycle. Know that I am always available with questions. Know that I'm happy to sit down and problem solve with you if there's a specific area of focus that your mentee wants to move forward with and you don't have a data form for it. And I hope you have a great coaching cycle, and I look forward to seeing you again on October 19th.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a link to say that we were here?
Yes. Let me get you the sign in.
Thank you.
How's it going, Stephanie? Haven't seen you this year.
It's going. We have a lot of new here, so
There's a lot of new everywhere.
we have 5 new staff members. So
Oh my goodness.
we've been really helping.
Oh my
We're getting
goodness.
there. Yeah. Thank you.
And new language arts and new M
New
class.
language arts, new M class, new admin.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You have a new admin too. Oh my gosh. Yes. I
Yeah,
can imagine.
we have a lot of new here.
You have a lot
We're
of new.
bouncing. We're bouncing. So we're doing good. All right.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I
you're
appreciate it.
welcome. Have a great
Have a-
quarter, and I look forward to seeing you on October 19th. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thanks.